I'm Mark Thornton, Parks and Recreation Conservation Director for the county. Israel Grajales is with Architectural Services, and he's the project manager. Rick Valdez, Debbie Robinson, Dave Andrews. God, don't. How many times have I not done that? Anyway, we're here to talk about the meeting that we had a couple of months ago with the Civic Association. When Commissioner Miller was here, we talked about the project, and that we answered a lot of questions, had a lot of good dialogue there. The county has a process where we have an initial kickoff meeting, and then we start the process of the planning, and we already have started quite a bit because of that meeting. But in order to get back in track with our county government processes, we're having this meeting tonight so that we can officially kick off the project and then start the process of doing the planning. As most of you know and have seen this project several times before, 78th Street, Sanders Park is the site of this athletic fields here. The project site is this little open area there where we already have included the parking lot. It's part of the master plan of this park because it was contemplated when this was designed that we would have a recreation center, regional rec center for this site that would serve Magnolia Park, Progress Village, Palm River, Claremelle, Winston Park, every area in this part of the county between the Bay and I-75. Right now, what we have is a budget of $3.3 million, which will give us the dollars to build a full rec center, probably 15 to 18, 20, I don't know, 15,000 square feet is what kind of our estimation is. The gymnasium, of course, is 10,000 square feet, and then the other rooms and multi-purpose rooms around it, we estimate around 5,000 square feet. What we will do is we'll build as much as we possibly can afford within that $3.3 million. That includes all the engineering, architectural expenses, design, permits, anything that we have to do all comes out of that. So Israel, what is the construction estimate? 2.5?
Yes, our construction cost is $2.8 million.
2.8, okay.
Well, yeah, but again, the building, you have to pay for the building, the site work, fixed in equipment.
I will say that luckily in the construction of the entire park, we've already included the parking lot, which would normally come out of this project, as well as the utilities are stubbed out, ready to plug into the new building. So some of those costs have already been paid for and covered in this design, this construction, which is actually a good thing because we can put as much as we can afford into the direct construction of the building. Now, this building will still be used as anyone that wants to use it. We have a senior program here. We've got several smaller centers in this area that will continue to be operated, not staffed. The staff will relocate to this rec center, but because of the location here, we don't expect this building to have an after-school program because that's the issue, is transportation. The Winston Park Rec Center is where our after-school program has really started to pick up and grow. So we suspect that that's probably where that program will stay. Palm River, we've got ATOS there, we've got the adult ed there during the day, and we in fact are working to try to meet with some folks there. Maybe you might be involved in that. Dottie Tilden had emailed the commissioner, and I tried to make contact with her, but I wanted to get our staff to meet with her and other community leaders there in Palm River. Number one, to make sure they understood the regional concept that we've got and that none of the centers we've not closed any centers. In fact, some of our centers are even more active now without the staff there because we've got special interest classes going on and we've got volunteer groups doing some senior programs and things that we open the building up and then they do their thing. And that's pretty much how we're doing here, isn't it? With our senior program. So, yeah, so we just need to make sure everybody's on the same page. We haven't closed any parks. We're not going to close any parks. But we did have to regionally staff, and this one is part of our strategic plan. We have 5 gymnasiums going in at existing centers throughout the county. And this one, though, because it's not an existing program, we've actually got more money. We have $2.2 million at all those other sites to add a gym on an existing site, but this one we have $3.3 million to build a brand new center. This one is exciting because this will be the first time in 7 or 8 years, actually more than that, that we've actually planned a full-service rec center. We opened All People's, which is a special needs facility primarily, but it's used by all people. We opened that one in 2007, I believe, and that's the last time we had any kind of new facility. This one, we're going to start from scratch, design it according to what input we get from the community as far as activity and programs. Architects are on board to do the work and the design, and there won't be another building like this anywhere. We're not cookie cuttering this from anything else. We're going to build it, design it for Progress Village, Claremelle, Winston Park, Palm River, all the communities, Magnolia Park, always got to throw that in now. All the communities here is a regional center. So with that, tonight's, we'd like to, get some comment. You're being recorded so that we have it. There's a sign-in sheet. I think everybody signed there. And what I would like to do is just spend a few minutes. We do have your comments from, I think, the last meeting, but this one being official, just, you support us moving forward with this facility. You don't want us to. We just need that recorded. And then as we move forward in the design process, we want your input, not maybe necessarily tonight. You think about kind of what programs you want to see in there. And we've talked a lot about this. So tell us, and we'll tell you how. We've got comment sheets. Take them with you, fill them out after you've had a chance to think about it, mail them in, and we'll include them in our design process. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. Israel, do you have anything to add? You want to?
No, nothing, but basically I want to say for the budget, again, like Mark was saying, what we're trying to do is to simply, what we're trying to do is to build as much as we can with the budget we have. The concerns we're having is construction costs is going higher and higher and higher. So what we do, we try to build as much as we can with the existing budget. So like Mark said, square footage may vary, but again, we're going to build as much as we can with the budget we have. And again, I'd like to open up the meeting to any questions that you may have.
Yeah, why don't you do that? That way we don't have to get up. We'll take the mic to you so you don't have to come and stand.
My name is Shirley Griffin, and I'm a resident here in Progress Village. And I would like to ask, number one, Mr. Director, I'm sorry I forgot your name.
Mark.
Mark, that's right, Mark. I was going to ask, because I am part of the exercise class here. We have something called Zumba. Yes, sir, and there's about, I guess, 30 of us in the class, but it's getting larger and larger. So one of the questions was, they asked, do you think it's possible that we could probably have a room over there to do our Zumba? Because when we are doing our Zumba, the other seniors are here doing their activity, and we feel like we're, kind of in their way. So we was going to ask if there's possibility to have that.
At this point, we've got kind of just a blank slate. We'll make sure we include that.
Okay.
The gymnasium is approximately 7,500 square feet. Mm-hmm. A full-size gym will hold a lot of folks doing Zumba. So if you get that big, we'll put you in the gym, but other rooms will be planned in the facility also. Okay,
and I'd ask another question. Some of the ladies are interested in, some of them like to play chess, cards, some of the seniors, some of them like sewing, knitting. Would there be rooms for birthdays, special birthdays, fashion shows? They named a lot of things.
Sure.
So anyhow, that was my questions for tonight.
Our plan is to build multi-purpose rooms so that they can be used for a number of different things, anything you can think of, and probably a lot of things that we hadn't thought of. So
That's right.
that's what we do when we build these. We build multi-purpose rooms, so it's not specifically designated for one thing.
Well, that sounds great. Well, I used to work at High Park. You all know where High Park is. I worked there for about 10 years, and those rooms were very nice and available. And just like you say, when we had larger activities, we moved over into the main exercise room there at High Park.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Henry L. Harris. I am a resident of Progress Village, been in Progress Village some 50, 60 years now. My main concern is about everybody, not only just the seniors, but also about the kids. And when they come down to these children out here, I tell you what, now east, north, west, and south, when they come down to these kids, really have to come from Sampson Park or wherever. Okay, the main concern for these kids is how much square footage of this is going to belong to the children. Okay, a lot of times when you come into a facility, there's not a place they can play basketball, or there's not a place for volleyball. My main concern is what square footage of this place here would be designated for basketball or off-center court or some other nature. And the other question is, would the building be constructed wherein that for futures?
For future what?
For future
Expansion?
expansion, yes.
Well, we have land. We're not taking up a lot of this land. Expansion really is it's a matter of money. You know, if we grow, we want 40,000 square feet instead of 15. It's just going to take money, and that may happen sooner, than later, or later than sooner. We just don't know. What we are building is about 15,000 square feet. To answer your question about designated space for kids, my response would be all of it. But what about seniors? All of it. Because we have a lot of our programs and the age groups don't conflict. When the kids are in school, the seniors are active morning and early afternoon. Then they go home and they do their business and they're done. Then the kids start coming in either after school, if we have that program, or after the after-school program for early evening for basketball practice, things like that. Adults will come in maybe even later. Certain times of the year we'll have kids basketball and maybe combine that, this time set up, Saturday morning practice, Saturday morning games. So the staff, which these folks here are going to be actually operating this facility when it opens, I think they know how to maximize a very small, most of our buildings are small like this, and we've done a really good job of putting a lot of stuff and a lot of age groups in buildings this size. And I know they're going to do a good job of a building that's this big, because we've got some other areas in the county that did have larger buildings. We fill them up. The bigger the buildings, the more people we're getting there. And so far, it seems to be working just good. So we are going to work on those. Thank you.
My name is Hillary Kemp Jr. One of the things that I've been concerned about is a program that we lost out here that we had for years. That was a ceramic program. Will it be set up for that? And also, what about the kitchen facility? Will that also be included in that?
Well, we need to write these down. We'll look at that. Ceramics? Ceramic room? Those were popular in some centers. We got lots of kilns scattered all around the county, and then they quit being popular. And we ended up with a lot of kilns we weren't using. So if there's a need for that, and some centers like Beesville had a kiln. I mean, it was active. They had a room, probably the size of this room almost, that was fully engaged in just ceramics. And other sites, they just stopped doing it. And we had extras, but warming kitchens, we won't put in commercial heating kitchens because of the hazard and liability, but certainly ice maker, some storage, triple stainless steel sinks for you to wash your dishes, hot water and all those things, so that when you have an event, you can have warm, you can bring in your food and serve it out of the kitchen, just so that it's very convenient. That's been requested in a number of our sites. So we'll put that down, have these architects work on it and see. Ms. Washington, good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My name is Linda Washington. I'm president of the Progress Village Civic Council. And you may have said this at the beginning, but I wanted to check on, you indicated there was $3.3 million designated to build a full-service rec center. Is that money also going to be used? I know we talked previously about the baseball fields.
This part.
Okay.
No, that's this, the 3.3 is just for this rec center.
So just for the rec center.
We've got
nothing to
another
do with-
700,000 that we're working with the baseball group to renovate the baseball
Here.
fields here.
Okay, so nothing else as far as the concession stands or anything like that at the sports complex? This is all for earmarked for the...
It's all for the building, yes,
For the
ma'am.
rec, okay. On a question with the activities or whatever, is it possible to consider a water park in that area? Something that similar to the, Curtis Hicks and how the water comes, or something for the kids to play in during the hot summer months? Is that something to be able to work into?
It's not part of that scope of this project,
Mm-hmm.
so, but, we had comments at the last meeting about swimming pools and
Right.
things. That's probably a whole nother project discussion. Early, and I've done a lot of research on water parks. We've got one that's being put in by the Rotary Club in Brandon at, no cost to the county, and they're
Right.
actually gonna maintain it. I think what we need to make sure of is that initially those were really great to have because we all said they weren't gonna cost much, didn't have to put lifeguards out.
Right.
But there's been some later research that they're just as costly because of the upkeep and maintenance and health issues. So I don't know, but we had that comment before about the pools. We wrote it down. We know that that's been an issue. But as you know, we don't do swimming pools in
Right.
Hillsborough County.
Right.
We've,
That's why I thought this might be a better alternate.
Yeah. Well,
I'll
we're
turn
doing
into
one.
that.
We're doing one, and we ought to watch and see how it works and how much it costs to operate, and it may be a solution. We've had other areas ask about them. So, it's not out of the question, just not part of the scope of this project.
Okay. Well, keep it on the slate because you never know.
That's right.
All right. And let's see. I know some people have already said something about the different things that you have up there, so I won't repeat. I wanted to, let's see, in the different, classroom settings, the kitchen game room, special event, definitely with the basketball court, because that's a big item. We have baseball cover, we have football cover. I've had a lot of people ask for basketball.
Right.
So if we were to have facilities inside the gym for the basketball courts, how you can convert them when you need it for something else, will there be bleachers, places, is that all going to be set up inside?
We would look at, not huge, but limited, the pull-out, the telescoping, we have that at all people's. Don't want to spend a lot because what we end up having is not a lot of spectator activities in these gyms. These are parents that are coming to watch their kids. We'll put as much as we can, but, we won't fill up a lot of space with bleachers.
Well,
Won't
would
be
it-
like a high school, I just want to say, won't be
Right.
like that.
Right, but would it be something that we could start getting into the, having competitions or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So enough to allow for, I know on a regular day-to-day basis, you wouldn't have the participation, but
Well,
definitely.
when you have games,
Right.
what we would anticipate, Debbie and Dave, is that we would have, we'd have our youth basketball leagues
Mm-hmm.
playing. They may practice throughout the week, and then
Right.
we have Saturday games, much like we do Little League
Right.
baseball. They practice, they have some games, most of their games are Saturdays. Well, we would have that. So the competition would, locally, we're gonna have a gymnasium in Gardenville, and actually, this is the furthest one north other than All People's. At some point in the future, all of our regional sites will have a gym. At least 6 of them will. All People's is already there. We're only 3 short of having them all have with gyms. But right now, we either play outdoors or we rely on the schools, and the schools are not as reliable as far as our scheduling. But
Right.
we've had youth leagues before where we advertise and have programs, basketball leagues. But this venture of indoor athletics is something we don't have a lot of because we just don't have the facilities. And after all the ones we're building, we will.
I'm definitely looking forward to the competitive part, being able to get the kids, our young people that want to participate in basketball, being able to do it on a, competitive level against different
Sure.
parks, and also, yes, definitely.
Okay.
One other thing came to mind. When I came in here, the first thing I looked at was that handout you had about heart,
Mhm.
physical fitness. Physical fitness, are you gonna have anything that will help us come in with light physical fitness?
A lot of our centers have weight rooms, treadmills, bicycles, so we need to write that down so that we can look at doing that. I think we would like to consider those if that's something that the neighborhood, the community wants for us to do that. We right now have a fee for, it's $10 a month, and then we also do some programs where it's part of the program where but if you just want to come in and work out, we've got them all over. I know we have Ruskin, Gardenville, Apollo Beach, those centers south. Does Brandon have one? Brandon doesn't have one. All People's is the only one close by here. We don't have one at Winston, Palm River here. So this one would be something that we would strongly recommend putting it in there if that's something that you want us to use that space for. So I'm glad you made that comment.
Another question. You keep mentioning all these other communities, including Progress Village. How are you gonna get the word out that, so these people will really understand that this is a regional park and not just a community park?
Well, that's always the hardest thing, to make sure that people understand that. We got an email of some folks in Palm River that were concerned about it. So we're going to meet with them to make sure they know and that they need to be part of the planning of this. I think this gentleman is from Palm River.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, and he has some comments, but he's here because he knows about it. We advertised and people saw it. We just need to make sure that everyone knows this is a regional center serving multiple communities in this part of the county, and everybody needs to be part of the design and planning.
Can I be a little critical?
Mm-hmm.
Drive behind, I always drive around and see what's going on. I looked all over the area, places that you placed the signs telling them this meeting was coming. It's
Not good? Did you make a note of that? 'Cause we don't control that. That's somebody else has to do that.
They need to be talked.
But we'll tell them. Just make a note, Israel, and I'll tell communications that we had some complaints of where the signs were located.
Not only in this community, but the other communities.
Other communities, yeah, I know. I mean, did you see a sign?
No, sir, I didn't. I read the Brandon paper.
Okay, well, we put it in the newspaper too, so if you didn't see the sign.
Miss Dottie Tillman called
Right.
and told me.
Okay.
My name is Dave Ziegler. I live 6904 12th Avenue South. So I live between Winston and 58th Street Park. So I attend both of them. And it's a lot of older people would like to get to that place now. At Winston Park, we used to have a van that every so often to take the senior citizens around. Well, they cut that out. But would it be in the budget to have a van to pick up a lot of the senior citizens that, that want to go play bango or sewing like a lot of ladies sew and whatever, just something for the senior citizens. And see, a lot of them around my neighborhood can't drive or done got too old to drive like it was when you had the van at Winston Park. A lot of them wanted to go, but they just have no way to get to the park. That's my question, sir. Thank you
Well, we
very
wrote it down. I appreciate it. What did we have to turn those vans in because of low mileage? Do you know?
I think that was Point. That was Point that picked you up, sir?
Or is it?
Ma'am?
Was it Point? It was Point that came in the van.
Yeah.
So it wasn't our vans?
No, there was a community planning
Okay.
named Point that used
Well,
to.
also, doesn't Sunshine Line,
Yes.
they can do a lot of that for us?
You have to register for that.
Okay. That is a county-funded van or senior program, I believe.
When we register for, the senior citizens that would like to.
If I can get your information, I'll look it up and I will get it to you tomorrow.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
no problem. And we have that here, the Sunshine or the Heart minibus, what brings people from the community up here for the senior program. So I know they do that for here. So we can do the same thing for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
No problem. Question.
Okay.
I just want to know, I know initially we started out saying we were going to have small groups, focus groups, to be able to discuss the design and the interest representing the community and taking that information back. So are we going in a different direction as far as?
No, we're going to do that. When we talked about that the last meeting, I think we had enough people that said they wanted to be involved. You probably missed that. The reason we're here tonight is that that was the Civic Association's meeting, and we couldn't use it as our kickoff meeting because the county has a certain process. When we start a project, we have a public meeting to gain input from everyone, and we couldn't use your meeting to be our kickoff meeting. So tonight, it's almost identical, but we've actually, we started looking at dollars and design kind of stuff. So we couldn't do that meeting until we had this one. So this one will get out of the way. We're going to roll with the other. But thanks for asking, because we had a lot of people that made comment. Yes, ma'am.
What's the timing on this?
We'll probably be under design for 6 to 8 months and under construction, hopefully within 12 months, and then another 6 to 8 months of construction, probably 8 months. I think we're 18 to 24 months is and I know our designers would like to say 24. I'd like to say 18, but somewhere in between. We're building just a gymnasium at one of our facilities right now. The construction time is looking like it's going to be about 8 months for that. Now this is a little bigger, so it's probably going to be 12 because it's going to have a lot more rooms to it. But the design, engineering, permitting, bidding takes anywhere between 8 to 12 months. So hopefully we'll break ground in the spring of 2014 and be underway, and the construction goes fast. We don't have bad weather, and get it done, have ribbon cutting in spring of 2015, which sounds like a long time, but it'll be here before we know it. Yes, sir.
My question is, before the actually construction of this building, okay, will we have
Get the
another
microphone.
meeting? Will we have another meeting?
We'll have
wherein-
several meetings.
To look at the design and?
Yes.
Okay, that'd be perfect.
We're going to have the focus group that's going to work with us on a lot of the detail. Then we'll bring that back and have a public advertised meeting so everybody can comment, hey, I like this, I like that, I don't like that. And I think at 50%, and there's certain steps the county, we have a process that we say, okay, we have to come back to the community at these certain times. So we're not going to break ground until now not everybody may agree, but everybody's had a chance to weigh in on what it is we're going to build. And we don't even know what it's going to look like now, which is exciting.
Okay, I'd just like to relate on what Ms. Washington was saying about the swimming pool.
Yes?
If you're familiar with Kate Jackson again, we have a big fountain there where the kids, it's a big, big fountain in the summertime. They can keep cool. Their parents come, the babies come in their little strollers, and they get out and get under. They have to be a certain age, I think. Is that right? And they play under the fountain. It's a big fountain. And it's really nice because we would take our kids out by age. We wouldn't let the older kids play
Right.
same time. But it's very well organized.
Was that in a shallow pool or was it just in a slab?
It's like a fountain. If some of you know what it looks like, you work in the Parks Recreation, you know what it looks like. It's like a big round circle, big round, and the fountain's in the middle.
Was there water in the bottom of it though?
And the water comes out of some big tank.
There was a certain amount of depth of water in the fountain
Yes,
itself?
and it comes out in little.
I think if there's anything over 2 inches, you gotta have a lifeguard, maybe even less than that.
We didn't have a lifeguard. We had to do with the people that worked there.
Right.
We would have to go out to guard those kids, make sure they didn't get any trouble or anything. If they did, they had to sit down.
I think what Ms. Washington was referring to is what a lot of communities went to when they couldn't build any more pools because of the cost of staffing and making sure, and the liability issues, is that they built these concrete splash pads
Okay.
with fountain and sprays coming out of the concrete. The concrete had a non-slip surface,
Yeah.
and so there's no standing water. So the health department didn't have to certify it. You didn't have to put lifeguards out there.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we've noted in some of the research is that the recirculation has to be just like a pool recirculation. So you still have to add chemicals and make sure you have healthy water.
Well, I guess you could check out Kate Jackson.
We can look at that,
Look
absolutely.
at that, and there were benches all around where we could sit and watch the kids.
Not part of this scope, but it's certainly something to look
Yeah,
at
if we
for
can't get our
future.
swimming pool, we'll go for the swimming pool first.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Thank you.
I know you said that this was going to be a one-of-a-kind facility, not to be duplicated. However, I know that there's probably some good resources that we could check out from the other, like you say, the all-purpose. So can you give all people, thank you.
Right.
Can you give any other additional places that have similar type programs that I could go check out, or other people can check out, that might give us inspiration or ideas for what we might want to have here?
Okay. Now, off the top of my head, I can't give you any right at the moment, other than what we have at All People's. They've got an exercise room, they got a dance room, they got a multi-purpose game room, they got a huge gymnasium. That's a triple gym under one roof. There's actually the older building, which has the kitchen in it, so design-wise, the kitchen doesn't even serve the building that we have. But we also have offices there for our therapeutic and athletic staff. I think that when you're inside the building, a basketball court inside a gymnasium looks the same pretty much with anything you're going to be in. It's the architectural design of the outside, the color of the bricks, the style, the design that we want to have unique, so that when you see the center, it's not going to be a building that you can see anywhere unless we just make it that way, and we don't want to. We want to be somewhat creative and somewhat unique for this community. So as a regional center, but when you're in a room, you know, we don't know what the outside of this building looks like when we're in this room. It could be anything. So that, you know, the creativity will be on the outside design and some of the rooms and how they flow and the offices and things like that. But, you know, when you're in a gym is a square court with a high ceiling and generally square walls, you know, rectangular. So, you know, that we got to make something creative out of something that's generally boring, is a square room. And that's what these guys are challenged to do.
Ease of access.
That's right. We want to be able to supervise this facility with as few staff as possible. So, and we did that at West Chase. We added a center. The way that building was is that there was a little building, little room, one room, not as big as this room, and then a breezeway. We added the gymnasium on the outside of the breezeway, and the breezeway is going to be enclosed for a lobby. So we've got a lobby where we put an office window there, so you can see in the gym, you can see who's coming in the room, in the building, and you can see who's going in the current multi-purpose room, and it'll be for classes and things. But one person can kind of keep an eye on the whole building, with exception of certain, you know, around the corner where I think they are looking at a multi-purpose weight room or gym or something. But we want to be able to keep an eye on it with one person so that we're not being inefficient with our staff. Staff need to be doing other things at other sites as well, but that building would be properly supervised.
What about the summer program? I know you said that the after-school program will remain at Winston Park.
We may, because transportation has not been a factor on weekends, after work hours, and in the summer, because, you know, we never had school buses taking kids to and from during the summers. This may be the site, because it's bigger, where we can combine everyone for the summer program. We haven't really gotten that far in thinking, but just off the top of my head, that's probably how it would work. Because transportation really only affects the after-school program because parents are working, and it's whichever one's closest to the elementary school. And we know the centers that we had closest to schools were always full, and those that were further away had very few, you know, some attendance, very little, unless the parents actually paid for their kids to get there. So anyway, other comments?
Questions?
Questions? We appreciate y'all coming tonight, and we're gonna be pressuring the architects to run with this ball as fast and furious as we can go, because I know we're all anxious for this facility. And just a last note, that somebody did mention about this park. The architectural services staff's been meeting with the baseball group, because we're talking about the baseball field renovations, and I think that they've come up with a design. I didn't bring it tonight because that's not the topic of this meeting, but that's been agreeable with Anthony Pittman, who's the president of the baseball group. So they've been working with that team of folks, and I think they're coming up with something that's going to be that they want to have. So we're moving forward on that one as well.
Where you going?
Yeah.
Football.
Yes.
Okay, football have increased as far as teams are concerned. And I tell you, that's going to be even more people attending the new field that we have there. But at the same token, we're still under pressure as far as money. Okay, and the reason is because 2/3 of our concession goes towards the purchase of equipment and the whole nine. And we're in competition with football, with baseball, believe it or not. And I think
Well, my recommendation is you guys don't compete with baseball, you join with baseball and run it
just
together.
like you just got through saying, Anthony Pittman here, you
Yeah.
see? All right? You're saying here with baseball. But at the same token, whenever you mention baseball, you never mention football.
Well, because we don't have, we've got it here.
I know, but what I'm saying is, well, long story, I will not argue the point.
No, I know that, I understand.
So, you know,
Had we have been, if you would have, well, if we would have been able to recommend what would have been best for this park, you wouldn't have had the concession stand you got. But the only reason that's there is because the group that was in leadership at the time said, we don't care what we get as long as we get exactly what Fishhawk got, and that's what we put there. That's why it's there, because we wouldn't have done it.
Hold on now, hold on a minute, I'll get that point with you right now. And the reason I log that point with you because I think I was sitting in this same point. And I told you at the same token, I said, what's that Fishhawk?
Yeah.
I said, whatsoever it's Fishhawk would not fit here for us.
Oh, I know that, I know that.
This is the same thing that I made comment with you at the same particular time. Because you
But
said.
what we have is what Fishhawk has, and it doesn't work here, does
It
it?
doesn't work, and that's the
I know.
same thing that I said way back before was under construction.
You and I were probably
Yes.
right in line in
Oh, yes.
agreement, but the leadership of the baseball group at the time this was planned, that's what they wanted, and
Yes,
they
Mr.
pressured and got that in.
Mr. Thornton, what you see right here is not what we asked for.
Yes, it is. I got documents that show
Well, I
that.
tell you what, that document's wrong.
Well, I didn't want to do it
Well,
either.
it's wrong.
But it's there.
It's wrong, I can assure you that. And that's why I say I will not argue with you.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you because you and I agree, this shouldn't have been there.
I have been arguing that same point, okay? Because I have been with football from Winston Park even to here, okay? And when it came down to football, see, versus baseball, I know what baseball was doing because they didn't have the participation versus football. So I'm not gonna argue
The
that.
good thing about it, though, is that
But we got
the artificial
something.
field that we
We
have,
got something.
Well, it's
okay?
nice.
So
It's
my
actually very
question from
nice.
the beginning, and I tell you what, if I'd have won that big lottery, we'd have talked.
I'd have to agree with that too.
We would have talked.
Thank you guys for coming. We'll let you get out of here and get home to your families and dinner and everything. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.